Cool. Brilliant. Right. Okay, Mary, Gareth, what a great day we've had today. And I thought we'd just wrap up the session today. We can go back over how we felt the week and the week's going so far, how the day's been, and go into each people, each of the presentations and just get your view, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
So, Gareth, you and I, we kicked off the day with a sort of an overview, and we had you had a bit of a Q&A with myself, and I had some more questions actually, Gareth, saying I need to ask you a couple of questions if that's okay.
Oh yes.
Well, I've got some questions at him, Gareth, Mary, because he's always asking me questions. So one of the questions was, and I don't think people may have watched the panel presentation, but they're interesting, Gareth. Obviously, when and how did you get into accounts payable?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was your fault. We talked about that an hour ago. I was working in a bank. We met in a gym together. We sort of buddied up as gym partners at the same time. I think I was getting made redundant. No, it was Halifax took over us, and then they put us into their own branches, but like really strange locations, just making things difficult, in my opinion. So therefore, you left. And then you said, oh, I've got some bank issues similar to that. Why don't you come and work for me at AT&T? And that's how my first step into finance world, corporate world. And then it just evolved from there. And ever since then, I've been in AP, cash management, and also little crossovers in GL, payroll, and AR as I've gone along in my journey.
Perfect. Thank you, Gareth. Well, that's answered the question. I thought I'd put you on the spot as you put me on the spot earlier. Now, obviously, when we kicked off, the first presentation today, Mary, was Brad. So obviously, you've seen Brad live.
Yeah, he's a real treat.
He is, and you know what? As I said, the presentation that we were privileged to have the premiere of today was a presentation he did in front of XeroCon. So Xero's obviously an accounting system, but he presented in front of 3,000 plus bookkeepers and accountants in the UK. And to get that audience sort of get on their feet, giving him a round of applause, I thought was amazing. And I don't know if you watched the presentation.
Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah, this morning.
It's amazing. Plus, I mean, you and I both speak in front of groups, but not 3,000 people.
And I think the problem is when you speak to people, obviously, the more you can get engagement, the more you feed off that.
Right.
I think what Brad did was he warmed the audience up really well, if you watch the presentation back. Mm-hmm. And by the end of it, you literally had 3,000 accountants and bookkeepers on their feet, talking Brad's language. So I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not exactly dressed like them.
No, exactly. He calls himself, and please excuse this for whoever's listening, he calls himself a drug dealer, and he's not, obviously.
Yeah.
He comes out in a t-shirt, he comes out in jeans and trainers, but yeah, it doesn't matter who he presents to. I think he captivates that audience.
Yeah, he does. I know he did that when last October at your session, and I know you were a little every time a word came out of his mouth that you weren't happy with. I'd see you go like this, but the audience, I think, for the most part, was fine with him.
They loved him. What would you point, Gareth?
Oh, I made some key points of each time slot, or whatever word you want to use, of each talker, and the whole day seems to be around well-being. Would that be a fair assumption? And to me, you had like 3 different levels. So you had Brad, who is my level. You then had Michaela, that was like in between, and then you had Richard, that was completely not my cup of tea. But I still watched it and I still gained from it, which is what I was mentioning earlier in our AP managers chat, that sometimes it's easy to switch off, etc., or think you know it all, or don't think it's relevant. But if you listen to what somebody says, you can get little bits out of them that are very meaningful and can make a big difference to you if you persevere through it. So for me and Brad, the couple of things I got out of that was you can't rewind. So stop worrying about the past. Stop worrying about, so if we apply that to now, stop worrying about what we were doing before. Just concentrate on the now. And he said uncertainty, it happens every day and it will continue to happen every day. you can't have certainty in your life. You know, every day is going to be different. And that resonated with me. Experts made a lot of mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes, and look at him now, he's number one. I thought that was good as well, because I make a lot of mistakes. I know that. You made one with a spelling mistake earlier, as you were told off for.
Oh, I've had my share.
But I think when you make mistakes, you learn a lot more personally. And it makes you stronger from them. And that's what he said. You know, the bad and the worst times have defined him, and it's made him what he is today. I thought that was good. Another key point that I thought was good for us, which we'll talk about later on in the week as well, is his divorce and not working together. Well, working together made him stronger. And I think that's key for us, looking at other departments like AR, procurement, and that's something that we're touching on in a later chat.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, actually, quite a lot of that then, Gareth, because obviously I know that you're part of the conference in October just gone, and this presentation was similar, but he put different content in a different sort of in a different way. But I think you're right. I think, you know, Brad's joining us again in October, Mary, and I know you're going to join us as well.
Please.
So, back on stage, it's what in Brad's terminology, it's getting the old team back together. That's what he was saying. So we're all going to get back together in October the 13th, and I think Brad will share his story again. But this year's presentation is going to be more a workshop about how we can become stronger, how we can become more confident, and what we can get out of life, just as like Brad has demonstrated in his presentations.
I think that we're going to see a lot of accounts payable people go up in their company's opinion of them, if you will, and how they're perceived. So like using the US terms, you know, we have Dr. Fauci, he's 79 years old, if you can believe that. And he's, you know, certainly he's been prominent, I guess, in his field, but he's certainly come to prominence now on a national level. And I see that happening to a lot of our people within their own companies because, you know, they kept the lights on, so to speak. They kept the company running. And I think that's amazing.
Perfect. And then, as I say today, obviously in the UK, Mary, it's Mental Health Awareness Week. And so it's a really important week. And obviously with the lockdown and then people working in different environments, whether they're working from home or working staggered hours, we thought it was really important this week to not only celebrate an AP Appreciation Week, but bring in some experts that can talk about wellness, health. And that's where, as Gareth mentioned, we had a young lady called Michaela Wade who joined us, and she talked around mental well-being. And again, I thought her presentation was great. There was some really in there. I thought she delivered it really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think there's little bits, if you listen, which will resonate to you.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a hard time for everyone. I mean, I look at myself and when I take a step back, I have to say, we're lucky. I have a job. I have a roof over my head. My husband and I haven't killed each other. You know, we're getting and all that. But still, I find myself complaining because it's hard. I've been in this house for 8 weeks. They just announced in my state that June 1, they're going to be opening up. You can get your hair done. And so right before I got on here, I know this is what you were doing, was calling the beauty parlor, trying to make an appointment. And June 1 is a Monday. I couldn't get one till Friday at 5 o'clock. And I thought, you know, we're all desperate to get out. And so it was good to hear Michaela. She had some very interesting insights and useful information that everyone can use, not just some highfalutin thing. So it was a good choice. I congratulate you on getting her.
She gave some good examples. Like she talked about her own personal reason, like it was incorporated in it through that lady. Sorry, it was a man getting divorced, I think, off the top of me. But she used like Big Brother, which would probably resonate with a lot of people, about how they were put in a room, and because they're stuck in that room, cracks would appear very quickly. Arguments over petty little things would happen rapidly because everything's magnified, which is what's happening to us now. And I thought that's a really good way of people that have grown up through the Big Brother era can relate to what's going on. And it was about not, you know, she's saying that you're going to get stressed, you're not going to sleep. This is normal. Don't be hard on yourself. You know, what you've got to do, again, it came out in her speech, was uncertainty came out again, causes stress and anxiety. So what do you do about that? do you sit there and fester on it? Exactly what Brad said. No, don't do that. Set yourself some goals. And her idea was do daily goals.
Yeah.
Don't do it yearly or monthly. Like in 6 months' time, I'm going on holiday. That's not going to happen. So if you set that, you're going to set yourself to fail. Look at what you can do in a day. So for me as a person, what I've done is I can't go to the gym. I can't do my cycling as much as I used to. So it's a really big jaunt from my exercising point of view. So what I've done is I went on YouTube and I found some home exercises. So I'm doing those now, and that's my goal today. And I'm adding one on a day. Again, like Brad said, add another rep on every day. And that's what I'm doing. And I feel good about it because I'm achieving something now on a daily basis. If I'm trying to think about in a month's time or 2 months' time, I'm going to be in a world of trouble because I'm thinking, how am I going to pay my bills? Where's all the work coming from that isn't available because everything's shut at the moment?
Yeah.
So
you
for
could
me,
make yourself crazy if you thought, if you worried about that. Yeah.
And then how your brain works, apparently, according to Michaela, is that if you've got that routine and it creates certainty, then tomorrow I know I will do my workout. So I'm going to be happy because I've done that and I feel like I've achieved something. I also put myself on an online course as well in Excel. I know I can do it, but I want to do it. So it makes me feel like I'm achieving something as well. So I think she gave some good points there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff available now for free or for very low cost online that wasn't available previously. I know I've heard some concerts. You mentioned the Excel. My daughter told me I don't know, she does Pilates and yoga. She signed up with some famous instructor who's now giving lessons online that she would not have had that opportunity before. So I congratulate you. I congratulate you.
And just in case people think I haven't got the money for that, which again, I'm in that boat. Don't panic. There's lots of free apps. I mean, this course I think was £1,000 and I paid $10 for it. So if you look or be patient, things will come your way that you can grasp and then be part of.
And you can afford £10 is within anybody's reach. Yeah.
Perfect. And then straight after that, you guys joined a panel where we talked about the true life of an AP leader, warts and all. And we were joined by Kevin Hart. We were joined by Stuart Griffiths, who sounded very husky because he's losing his voice, but thought he did a good job. We were joined by Chris Sanders from the CICM, Scott Hancock from Aston University, Sarah Walker, who's an expert in transformation, and Heather Peters from AP now, AP Happy. And again, so if you look at what we discussed on that session, which I thought really flowed excellently, 8-hour session, and we covered the whole spectrum. We covered what it took to get into AP, the journey, and did we all choose to go into accounts payable? Nobody of us did.
Nobody did, right?
And I think when we looked at Sanders offered some really good balance, talking about the AR side, the credit control side. But the conversation was brilliant. And I don't know what your thoughts are, Gareth and Mary, but I really enjoyed the session for an hour earlier today.
Not only did I enjoy the session, or at least the part that I got there, because I had a little technical issue, but I thought that what they had to say was quite insightful, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if at the end of the day, if you do ratings, if this session comes out to be one of the highest rated sessions. Not to say that the others weren't good, they were great, but it's nice to hear from people going through the same thing you are.
Yeah, I agree.
It's also nice getting the opinions or thoughts of somebody that wasn't a pure AP manager. So we had a very mixed range of people that were associated with accounts payable or directly associated with accounts payable. So it gave a nice mixture of views and answers to the questions that we were airing, or whatever word you want to use.
Yeah, I think the overriding, I think you're right, Mary. I think what I like to, just like yourself and Gareth, I've been in accounts payable or purchase ledger for probably 30 years, start to finish. And I love to hear from people in our industry.
Yeah.
When you speak to somebody, if they've actually been in accounts payable or not. And it's clear, you can see straight through it. Doesn't matter how they market themselves. If you've not been in accounts payable, you can see it very, very clearly. And, yeah, okay, today there was a couple that joined us today from receivables and some from training organizations. But what I loved about the session was you could just see the passion that came out from the people in payables. And, you know, we talked about recognition, we talked about the week and why it's important to get recognized. But what was nice was that, you know, there was so much passion coming out in the conversation, and there was just words of wisdom from near enough everybody.
Yeah.
Their journeys, their visions. So yeah, I just love that session earlier today.
Yeah, and I think you have one planned every day for the rest of the week, and those are the ones that I'm most looking forward to.
Perfect.
Not to put pressure on them or anything.
We'll get you on the technical side so you can join.
Oh yeah, I'll be your help desk. You'll have no one on the call.
Yeah, it was a really great session.
Yeah.
Then obviously we finished off the day. So just before we did a rerun of Brad's session. So we did a rerun of Brad Burton's ZeroCon, just so that with the folk in the US can probably grab hold of that presentation as well, Mary.
Good.
Before that, we had a chap called Rich Enyon, who he was more spiritual in his.
Yes.
And I thought that
I liked him.
And again, in the UK, we have this thing called Dragon's Den. So it's a television program.
It's like Shark Tank, I think, in the US.
Exactly the same thing. And he was a winner, so he got investment from a sort of investor on Dragon's Den. But what I felt he brought to us was that we wanted to emphasise that, you know, when we've been doing the isolation events, Mary, and we've got back about what do you miss the most, and people.
Yes. Yeah.
2 screens or
2 screens. Who'd have thought?
You know, what surprised me was the conversations and noises in the offices. So, you know, the coffee chats, chats around the office. And I think what Rich was trying to do there was that he was trying to spiritualize a general cup of tea or a cup of coffee. And okay, you know, once you got into the presentation, I thought it was excellent during the session, but it was a different view and a different balance view. So I just wonder what your views were, Gareth and Mary.
Well, for me, it's not my cup of tea, pardon the pun. I mean, when I started listening to him, I mean, from a personal point of view, I used to do Thai boxing and I loved that. And then I tried Tai Chi and I just laughed all the way through it because it was about like, push the clouds away, comb the mare's hair. And I was like, what the hell is all this? So I'm not that type of person, which I think Richard fitted that. So if you liked all that kind of stuff, that was your cup of tea, etc., you probably would have loved him. Nevertheless, I still listened to his whole show. And I did get I got some key points out of that. And what was quite funny, though, he said, you're either thinking like his way of, or you're thinking, what the hell is this guy going on about? And I was like, yep, that's me. I'm definitely thinking that. But what he was explaining, which probably overlaps with the other 2 people as well, Michaela and Brad, is that he said at one point, how horrible is this lockdown? You're thinking, I can't go out, I can't go and party, I can't go. It was full of all these negative thoughts, if you want that. And what he was saying through the way he portrays it is you need to change your mind. So like you mentioned earlier about having the coffee cup, smelling the coffee, the textures, etc. To me, that sounds a little bit wacky. But what he was saying, though, was look at it from a positive point of view. Look at me. I'm able to drink a coffee. How lucky am I to be sitting here?
Right.
I can put the telly on and watch a film. It's not the end of the world, you know. It's about looking at it and making yourself positive. And that's why I said it overlaps the others. Get rid of your uncertainty. Get rid of the buts and I can't do this and blah, blah, blah. Put some realistic goals in front of yourself that are very achievable, and then go out and achieve those. And then you feel a lot more positive about yourself. And that way, you're not going to end up it being in a depressed state, etc.
I liked him a lot. I'm like Gareth, to be perfectly honest. My instinct was to do this, to tell him, come on, get the show on the road. But at the other end of the spectrum, I like when when I'm exposed to something different, because I'm usually more, you know, let's get going. So I tried to make myself sit down and listen to him and do what he was saying. But I have to admit, I didn't 100% achieve it because I was making notes on the side and whatnot. But You know, it was 20 minutes, so it's not a long time, and we all could use to sit and be quiet for 20 minutes. So I'm even tempted to go back and listen to him again and kind of make myself, with my cup of coffee, smell it before I gulp it down. Congratulations for including him.
Brilliant, thank you, Mary. So yeah, and obviously then, as I say, we finished the day with the three of us discussing the day itself. So if you look on, you know, the social media platforms, what I love when we do AP Appreciation Week. So obviously, I know in the States, Mary, that AP Appreciation Week is usually in the fall.
It's usually in the fall, yes. But I think that we could use it this time. So I was glad that we could join hands across the ocean, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's why I was going to thank you. So I know that you're more than likely, you'll get involved heavily in the fall, but I think you're right. I think in these challenging times to run this now, probably the right time. And, I was just saying, just shy of 1,700 people.
That's amazing.
What that shows me is that there's a lot of people out there that want to get involved. They can listen to these recordings, obviously at their own leisure of sorts. So I'm recorded live during the day. And then, as I say, on social media, what I love to see is when people put the hashtags in and they're celebrating their teams. We've had, tens and tens of comments and likes and shares and photos. And I know as we go through the week, people will start taking some photos of their poses. We had Heather Peters who put up of AP Appreciation Week, and then it fell down.
It fell down.
So, but what I love is that, people share photos of the mugs, and it is a week of celebration. And in these really horrible times, there was a community, and recognizing us, as a global community, I should say, I think it's just a really nice time to do this because it's what's needed at the moment. Yeah,
I agree. It couldn't have come at a better time. Really. I mean, I know you would have preferred not to be doing this out of your home, but really, given everything that's going on, this was the perfect time for this.
You just remind everybody what the hashtags are, Jane.
Yes. Yeah. Hashtag AP Appreciation Week, and then hashtag AP Appreciation Wall. So we've got two. So we've got a virtual wall. So every hashtag that gets picked up throughout whatever social media, we'll pick that up and create a big collage at the end of the week, which we'll then share with the whole community. And every comment, photo, video, everything will be then shared. And I think it's just a nice way of looking back. And when we get together on Friday, hopefully the three of us, we're going to have a couple of special on us on Friday, and maybe we can then have a look at that wall, have a look at some of the, and then really drill down and sort of maybe do a few shout outs to some of the organizations that we join on the end of Friday.
Perfect. I think
of these people you said, like, we've got such a great number. How can they get involved? You've just explained from the wall point. Is there any other way they can get involved, like sending questions in or anything like that? And if so, how do they do that?
Yeah, good point, Gareth. So as always, they can either get on our website or Mary's. So either apassociation.com or Mary, your website is?
ap-now.com. We both have dashes. Probably both regret those dashes too.
Whatever it's called. So yes, jump on either of those websites. There's contact forms on both of those. All of the sessions that are planned throughout the week, Gareth, they can bookmark on the live sessions. They can ask questions into any of our email addresses. But again, I think the most important part is get on the social medias, get on the platforms, get your photos on, get your comments, share your thoughts. This is a time to celebrate. So if you're a manager or a leader, celebrate your teams. If you're in celebrate your managers, and as a collective, let's celebrate the organizations that are helping in these difficult times.
Yep, I agree.
One of the points I'd like to make as well is, from my own experience, I've never gone, probably, I don't know what the percentage would be, but no AP team is virtually the same. So when somebody talks, don't be afraid. Think, wow, my process is totally different. I've been to one client, and they didn't scan the invoice until everything was complete and attach it to the line. Now, to me, that was like balmy, but to them, it was normal, and I was balmy, saying, no, you scan the invoice first, and then it all flows from that. But they didn't get that at all at the beginning. So I'd encourage everybody in AP, even if it's different, don't be afraid to talk to us. We're not here to be ridiculed. We're here to share ideas and grow.
And you know what, Gareth? I think that's going to be even more so as we move on, as we come out of this pandemic and we see more remote teams and hoteling and God only knows what else. We're going to get even more diverse, which will make it more interesting.
Perfect. Right, okay. Well, we're coming up to the 30-minute mark. I said we'll keep these short. Us three could,
we could just go on for
so tomorrow's day kicks off at 10 a.m. UK time. Obviously, the sessions kick off live and then they're recorded throughout the day. Tomorrow's day is collaboration. So as Gareth mentioned, we've got experts from around the UK and the globe talking about collaboration. Day 3, which is Wednesday, it's leadership in AP and transactional finance. Day 4 is your day, Mary. This is fraud prevention.
I'm putting my finger up like I'm in favor of fraud. I'm in favor of fraud prevention.
And then day 5, we're going to look at the new world. So obviously, hopefully, we'll have learned lots and educated. All our speakers will have taught us lots. And then on day 5, let's have that final day of what the new world looks like, and hopefully when we get together on Friday afternoon and Friday evening, we can celebrate all things AP, look back at what we've achieved, and obviously then give a few shout outs if that's okay.
Perfect.
Day 4, I think the servers will go down then if Mary's
That's all you'd need. So before we close off, can I congratulate both of you and thank you for doing this, because I think the community needs not only AP Appreciation Week, but the association. So thank you.
And the same goes to you, Mary. As always, you know you are our hero. So you'll always be our hero. And again, you need to give a bit of a plug you did earlier. You've got a book coming out, Mary, I believe. At some point.
Oh yeah, I have to finish it. Oh, today? Are you kidding? The woman who's working with me, I get an email from her every day. Am I getting it today? And I hope that it will be it'll be out in a week or 2. That's how fast we can get things published now. What am I calling it? A back to work accounts payable action plan. What we're going to do to deal with the pandemic afterwards. So
when that book's ready, Mary, we'll make sure it's on our website so people can.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Morning. Hope to see you both tomorrow. Have a great day, both.
Have a good evening, guys. Bye-bye.